Welcome to the very first episode of Functioning But Not Okay, the hidden struggle no one sees. I am your host, Antoinette A. Okala Inombi, also known as Coach Auntie. If you are tuning in today, chances are you know exactly what those 4 words mean. You know what it feels like to wake up, put on your clothes, answer your emails, smile at your co-workers, pack the lunches, pay the bills, and look to the outside world like you have it all put together. While on the inside, you feel like you're barely holding the pieces of your life from shattering on the floor. You're functioning, but you're not okay. I want to pause right at the beginning and tell you something that you might not have heard in a very long time. You are allowed to be here. You do not have to put on a mask for this next half hour. You do not have to pretend that everything is fine. You do not have to fix anything right now. This space was built specifically for you, for the high achiever, the reliable friend, the caretaker, the professional, the anchor of the family who feels like they are drowning in plain sight because everyone assumes they know how to swim. As a certified grief and life transition coach, a spiritual director, and the author of The Courage to Be You, I have spent years sitting across from people in their darkest, quietest, and most confusing moments. And if there's one overaching pattern I have seen in humanity, it is that we have become master illusionists. We have trained ourselves to prioritize performance over pain. We live in a world that rewards productivity so heavily that we have learned to channel our deepest grief into overworking, overproducing, and overfunctioning, just so we do not have to slow down long enough to feel the weight of what we are carrying. When we talk about grief, most people immediately think of death. They think of funerals, dark clothing, and sympathy cards. And while physical loss is certainly a profound piece of grief, it is far from the whole picture. Grief is the normal and natural reaction to loss of any kind. It is the end or change in any familiar pattern of human behavior. You experience grief when a marriage ends, even if you were the one who asked for the divorce. You experience grief when your kids grow up and leave the house. You experience grief when a career path you built your identity on comes to an abrupt halt. You experience grief when a health diagnosis changes your future. When a friendship quietly fades away. Or when you realize that the life you imagined for yourself at this age looks nothing like the reality you are standing in today. Grief is also what happens when the world suffers a collective shift, or when you lose a sense of safety, trust, or faith. Yet, because society has drawn such a narrow box around what counts as real grief, so many of us walk around carrying unspeakable pain while telling ourselves that I shouldn't be feeling this way because others have it worse than me, or I just need to get over it and keep moving. That internal sentence, I just need to keep moving, is where the high-functioning trap begins. High-functioning grief is silent. It does not always look like crying in a dark room or being unable to get out of bed. No, that's not how it presents itself. Often, High functioning grief looks like filling every hour of your calendar so you never have a moment of silence. It looks like clean houses, flawless work presentations, organized schedules, and a quick response to every message, all powered by an underlying engine of anxiety and exhaustion. It looks like being the person everyone relies on, because if you stop moving, God forbid, if you stop fixing everyone else's problems, the dam holding back your own emotional pain might burst. So if this sounds like your daily reality, I want you to take a deep breath right now. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Soften your stomach. You have been holding your breath for a very long time, and you do not have to carry all of that armor anymore. The title of my book is The Courage to Be You. And when I talk about courage in the context of grief and life transitions, I'm not talking about the kind of bravery that charges into battles or pushes away pain with a stiff upper lip. I am talking about the quiet, terrifying, and deeply sacred courage it takes to stop running from yourself or ourselves. It takes immense courage to sit down with your sorrow, your confusion, your anger, and your disappointment and say to yourself, I see you and I am not going to run away from you anymore. In my work as a spiritual director, I often view grief not as an enemy to be defeated or a disease to be cured, but as a potter. Grief strips away the small things we know value in life. It cuts through the superficial noise and forces us to confront our core values, our spiritual grounding, and our fundamental humanity. Pain demands to be witnessed. When we refuse to witness our own pain, when we bury it under hyper efficiency and busy work, it does not disappear. Pain doesn't disappear. It simply buries itself in our bodies. And it shows up as chronic exhaustion, unexplained physical ailment, sudden outbursts of irritability, emotional numbness, or a persistent low self-esteem. We have been conditioned by a quick fix culture to believe that if we are feeling bad, there must be a 3-step formula to feel good again by next Tuesday. We want to bypass the valley and jump straight to the mountain peak. But true healing, true integration of loss does not happen through bypassing. It happens through companionship, through gentle allowance, and through giving ourselves the permission to sit in the sacred middle ground where we acknowledge this hurt. And I don't know what comes next, but I am here with myself in this moment. So over the course of this podcast, Functioning But Not Okay, and in every 2 weeks, we are going to explore and have honest conversations about what it really means to navigate grief, life transitions, identity shifts, healing, faith, without losing your sanity or collapsing under the weight of expectations. We're going to bring on guests, share real stories, dismantle toxic positivity, and offer practical tools, spiritual guidance, and emotional tools that honor both your desire to live a meaningful life and your need to process your pain. We're going to talk about how to set boundaries when your emotional bandwidth is low. We will talk about how to navigate the comments of well-meaning friends and family who say things that inadvertently hurt you deeper. We will talk about how to grieve the loss of who you used to be before life delivered the blow that changed everything. And most importantly, We will create a bi-weekly sanctuary where you can lay down your perfectionism and just be human and just be you. So if you're listening to this right now and feeling overwhelmed, I want to offer you one small practice you can take with you into your day today. It is called the practice of the honest check-in. Once or twice today, when you feel that familiar urge to rush, to fix, or to pretend that everything is fine, just pause for 10 seconds. Put a hand over your heart or your belly. Take a deep breath and ask yourself a simple question. What am I feeling right now? And what do I actually need in this moment? Now, notice that the question is not how do I fix this or how do I make this go away? The question is simply, what am I feeling and what do I need? Sometimes the answer might be as simple as a glass of water or a 5 minutes of quiet in your car, permission to say no to an event you do not want to have, or allow yourself just to shed a few tears without explaining them to anyone. Healing is not about becoming a person who never feels pain again. No. Healing is about becoming a person who trusts themselves enough to stay present through the pain, knowing that the grief and joy, sorrow and hope can exist in the exact same heart at the exact same time. You do not have to wait until you're fully healed to live a rich, meaningful life. You can be grieving and growing simultaneously. I am so deeply honored that you choose to lend me your ears and your heart today. If something in this message resonated with you, if you recognize yourself in the description of functioning but not okay, please know that you do not have to walk this path alone. Companioning people through their grief and life transition is the heart of my life's work. You can connect with me directly, explore coaching options, or reach out for spiritual companionship through my website at T like in Tom, lifecoachinggrief.com, T like in Tom, lifecoachinggrief.com, or email me personally at Antoinette at tlifecoachinggrief.com. You can also learn more about my book, The Courage to Be You, on Amazon, where I dive even deeper into the journey of stepping into your authentic self through life's hardest seasons. Thank you for spending this time with me today on Functioning But Not Okay. And remember to be gentle with yourself today. Give yourself grace for the things you cannot control and grant yourself permission to rest. The permission to rest. Until next time, take a deep breath, hold space for your heart, and know that you are worthy of the same compassion you so freely give to others.